I will see you guys in the dark.
It was a boring night, so my mom, little sister, and I decided to go to Walmart just to get out of the house. This particular Walmart shares the same parking lot as a Kohl's or Target. As we were walking around in our PJs in the store, a lady approached us and complimented my sister and I for being so cute and pretty. She proceeded to say that she works for a TV network, and her job is to scout cast families for their reality show. She asked if our dad was in the store with us, and even though we didn't have a dad, I lied and said he's at home for my mom who doesn't speak English. I didn't want to say he was in the store in case she would ask to speak to him. The lady, who looked quite normal, friendly, and kind of bubbly, continued to compliment my family for being beautiful. As she was talking, I translated it to my mom, and we all felt flattered but skeptical by her compliments. Then she said she would love to cast us if we would follow her to her house, so she can properly film everything to submit to the company. This was the moment I started averting my eyes to check the shelves for hidden cameras. During this time, family reality and prank shows were really popular, so it made the whole situation feel a bit more plausible that we were either really being scouted or this was a hidden camera prank. I was leaning towards it being a prank because we were one, boring people, and two, weren't particularly so pretty and beautiful as she claimed. Even though I was young and so didn't feel in immediate danger talking to her in the middle of Walmart with my mom present, I knew it was ridiculous to follow a stranger to their house, especially late at night. I then politely declined her offer, which she asked a few more times before telling us, if we change our mind, we can find her in the store. When she left, we checked up and down the aisles for camera crews or hidden cameras, because her whole reality show pitched to a first general Asian immigrant family seemed unbelievable, and it can only be a prank, we thought. I also noted to my mom how it was odd we didn't even notice her following us earlier when we walked every aisle and she just came out of nowhere. As a kid who watched a lot of true crime, I told my mom, what if she was trying to lure us into a trap? When we follow her home, there could be more men there, and what if they kill us or traffic us? We were probably easy targets since we were only 3 women, 2 being kids and immigrants. My mom also thought it was weird, but instead of going straight to our car, we waited for some time to pass, in case the lady, her people, would follow us to our car and home. To this day, sometimes this encounter would creep its way out of my memory bank and make me wonder, what if we followed her that day? What did she have planned for us? Was she one of those bad women you hear working with others in order to lure other women and children? Has she done this before, and was she successful with other people? I hope no one was harmed from her scheme. So in my life, there have only been a few times I have ever looked back and thought I really could have been killed or something. This is one of them. It was back in 2010, and I had just started college. I had arrived pretty early as I figured traffic would be much worse, and to kill some time I decided to go to a Walmart across the street. After shopping some The Gathering, and buying some food, I made my way out, and once I stepped off the curb, a man stopped me. This guy was probably between his late 30s and early 40s and pretty unkempt looking. Ripped jeans that looked old, a shirt that was faded and looked like it once had a design or writing on it, and a baseball cap that appeared to be the only somewhat new thing he had on. Once he stopped me, he started up with, "Hey man, I hate to be a bother, but I was doing some construction work up the road and my truck ran out of gas. Can you help me out and drive with me to the gas station? I'm alone and pretty desperate." Obviously that seemed sketchy, so I instead offered to give him $10 I had on me, thinking it might really be a guy down on his luck. To my surprise, he immediately shot down my offer, and instead continued to insist I instead let him drive me to the gas station in his truck, pay for his gas, and then he'd drive me back. Needless to say, this all seemed incredibly bizarre, and I told him no, and that I was in a hurry. Instead of leaving it alone, he began to tell me, "Man, come on. I'm all alone here, and my truck is on empty. I'm stranded here by myself." When I continued to walk away, he began to try to grab at my arm while continuing to beg. I realized quickly that the way we were positioned, every time he went to grab at me and I walked away, He was leading me more and more away from the store and more toward the parking lot, which was not very full this early in the morning. Not wanting to let him keep leading me away, I walked back toward the store and said I had something I forgot inside. Instead of following me, he pretty quickly backed off once I made it to the doors. I think he didn't want to go inside and risk others seeing. This may sound like overreacting, but at this point I was freaking out. I had never had someone actually try and grab me like that, and every bad scenario was running in my head. Not wanting him to do this with anyone else, I alerted the front desk of what was going on, and they said they'd handle it. Honestly, I don't know if they did, because I quickly went for the other exit and nearly ran to my car. Once I was in my car, I noticed he was walking away from his spot, and I assumed either they had kicked him out, or he was simply admitting defeat for the day. I was curious, so I watched him walk to the back of the parking lot and get in his truck. My heart sank when he pulled away, and I noticed two heads pop up from the back seats, as if they were hiding out of view until the car was moving. To make matters even more sketchy, he did not pull into the nearest gas station, and instead pulled onto the highway. Obviously not something someone alone and running out of gas would do. Fast forward 2 days later, and I stop at the same Walmart, and what do I find? Yup, it was him. Still there, and still giving the same story about being stranded and needing someone to come with him. This time, instead of telling the store, I just immediately called the police. I don't know if he recognized me and saw me on the phone or what, but he left pretty soon after that, and I never saw him in the parking lot again. Today, I experienced my first lovely experience that I felt was appropriate enough to post here. A 20 female and my fiance, a 21 male, decided to go get some groceries from our local Walmart, which to start with isn't in the best area, but it's normally perfectly safe to go to during the daytime. The dollar store is only one store over in the plaza, so we parked in front of it and got a few things there first. When we left, I decided to go walk to the Walmart by myself. I told my fiancé to put the groceries in the car, and I'd go to the side entrance to wait. I watched him head to the car, then started walking over to the entrance. About 10 yards from the entrance, in this corner of the front that was back away from any other people, this random guy, dressed like a stereotypical fedora wearer, with a leather coat over it for lack of a better explanation, was standing there by his motorcycle, watching me walk to the entrance. When I got about 10 yards from him, the entrance, he started yelling out, "Hey miss," at me, as I was the only person within his line of sight. My fiancé couldn't be seen. I ignored him. Literally no reaction or pause at all to him, and kept walking. I ended up walking in and waiting inside for my fiancé. When I got in, he was still yelling "Mom" after me. So my fiancé and I do our Walmart shopping thing as one does and check out. My fiancé said he had a weird feeling he had seen the guy calling after me and watching me, and had me go on his right side. So I was up against the visible side of the hallway that leads to the side entrance we came through. On the other side of the hallway are vending machines. All are about 4 feet or so apart. When we walked around the corner, the guy who had been calling after me was hiding between 2 of the vending machines, waiting for me. He obviously didn't expect that I had come with someone, and he said nothing. We quickly walked out and to the car. As we drove off, I saw him sulking back to his motorcycle, texting someone. This really creeped my husband and I out. It was almost midnight, and we went for a late-night snack run at Walmart. We parked in the front parking lot and got out to go into the store. We had brought our baby along with us, and my husband was holding her. We were parked a little farther back in that front parking lot, so we kind of had to walk nearby the back parking lot where the truck stuck. As we walked past, we hear a terrified man's voice screaming, "Help! Help!" over and over. It was really dark back there, so we didn't want to walk too much closer. We just peeked a little to see if something was going on. We also had our baby's safety to think about too. We saw nothing, so we went into the store. I walked up and talked to a manager to let her know what I had heard, and she got scared and told me last year her and her GF had heard that screaming too. I later called the police, guilty conscience, in case it was a real struggle, and didn't have my phone on me in the store. We came to the conclusion that it might have been a setup. Someone yells "help," and then a kind citizen walks back into that dark parking lot to help, only to get taken robbed. I told my mom, and she was spooked and thought that's what it probably was too. Especially since it was heard last year too. Very creepy.